Record.
Got
Okay.
it.
What's in progress? Okay. Shalom Aleichem, everybody. We're up to what's called Ches Tishrei in the Sefer here. We're starting the Psicha. We finished that Tama. We're starting the Psicha. Psicha lehilchos Isha lashon hara rechilas. Psicha is like an opening paragraph, but it's more than a paragraph. And in the Psicha, he's going to show us, Chavetz Chaim is going to show us how many mitzvahs, Hasei and mitzvahs los Haseis, and a few klolos, horrors, a person regularly transgresses when he speaks Lashon Hara regularly, about Lashon Hara. So he says like this, V'avas Hashem Yisrael Sama Yisrael, out of the love of Hashem to Klal Yisrael, v'chofetz moed b'toivosam, and his desire to do good, that they should have good, to the extent that he refers to Klal Yisrael as banim, children of his kaviyachol, v'chedek Hashem, and Hashem's portion, v'nachala, and its inheritance, v'kam Hashem was chavivim, and many are other names that are endearments to Klal Yisrael, Amorim al Goyda also Yisrael, that all point to the great love Hashem has to Klal Yisrael. Big Yisrael. You know, there are people that grow up and they don't think Hashem loves them. Doesn't think He loves Klal Yisrael. I know that there's been, mechanchim that have asked their classes, this question: Does Hashem love you? And they didn't get it. They didn't get it, even though davening's full of Havas Hava Rabba, but they didn't get it. And we have to know that Hashem loves us tremendously. Moshe Kosev, as the pasuk says, the Navi says, "Ahavti eschem Omar Hashem, I loved you, says Hashem. Therefore, Hashem distanced us, pushed us away from bad midos ubeprat, and specifically miloshen harachilas. Lashon rechilas brings to fighting, to arguments, to machloikis. It's destructive. And therefore, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, out of his love for Klal Yisrael, gave us these mitzvahs. And at times, Lashon Rechilas could, at the end result, end up in murder. Rambam, as the Rambam writes, it's according to the Bracha B'Ilchos Deus. Now, even though you don't get malchus because it's a lav she'ein by maisa, speech is not considered an act, and the rule is that there's only malchus on a lav she'esh by maisa. So you might think, so it's not as serious of a avera of ungodolu, but says, I think this is the words of the Rambam. The Rambam says that even though you don't get malchus on it, but it's a tremendous big avera of v'garim l'harag nefashos rabbis miyisrael, and it's a cause for many Jewish people being killed. And therefore, in the pasuk next to the Isa of Lashon Hara, it says, don't stand by the blood of your fellow Jew. In other words, that this is a cause for that. Go and learn from the story of Doeg Hadomi and Novi Arkon. Doeg Hadomi spoke Lashon Hara about the city of Nov, which is the city of Kohanim. He told Shaul that they helped David. David HaMelech was running away. Shaul was trying to kill him, catch him. And because of what he spoke, and he indicated that they were part of a rebellion against Shaul, Shaul ended up killing the whole city. And that was all because of the Lashon Hara of Doeg Hadomi. And he says many other bad things, tremendously bad things are result from Lashon Hara and Rechilas by the Amida Muguna Zois, that are caused by this terrible midah. The original Avera that kicked everything off by the Nachash was based on Lashon Hara. Shediba Lashon Hara Kadosh Baruch Hu. He spoke Lashon against Hashem Sha'amar. And he said, Min ha'ilan hazeh ochel b'ras ha'ilam. Okay, we don't understand what this means, but he said to Chava that Hashem ate from this tree, and with that he was able to create the world. Like they said, Peter's Chava, and by saying that, he was able to convince Chava to eat from the tree. And the Gemara there says in Shabbos that whatever it means, again, we don't understand who the Nachash was. It's not a snake that you find crawling in the grass today, some type of snake. But it says that the Nachash had relations with Chava and caused her to have like an impurity, a tumah. Hashagarm gila rayis. So that is an expression that it caused gila rayis, adultery, become misal choloi. Also, because of Avera, so that was the cause of death, that we die. And through this, that he spoke to them, said lashon he caused Adam Rishon and Chava to transgress the Ratzon Hashem. He says, so therefore, someone who does speak lashon hara, he's using, he's grabbing, he's grasping the midah that's destructive to the creation of the world. But he continues, the main cause for Klal Yisrael going into Golus Mitzrayim, so the was also based on this. It says in Bereshis, Yosef brought bad stories, so told negative things to Yaakov Avinu, lashon hara. By days it nixed all over Hashemayim, and based on that, it was decreed on him. Mida keneged mida, shenim kalevet, that he'll be sold as a slave. He said about the Shvatim, that they were sons of Leah, that they were referring to the other Shvatim, sons of Bilhah and embarrassing. What's the other name? Leah, Rivka, Bilhah, and Zilpah. Right? They were referring to them as slaves. So Mida Keneged Mida, he was sold as a slave. Maidisa b'medrash will be a Shalmi. The payer. Hagam She'eloi Tam Hetera, even though he had a reason to explain why it was mutter to say it, Haladiba Shevi Moshe Persham Mefarshim. As the Mefarshim explained that Yosef had a reasoning that it was mutter. Him goes that, but with all of that, it didn't help him, and he was sold as a slave. So that was the source. So besides that, the lashon hara of the Nachash kicked off all that terrible things by Adam Rishon. Kais who went to Golus because of lashon hara about Oyu Kol Sibu Golusenu, and says Chavutzchaim. On top of that, all our Golus is all because now who Ikarak B'Shemaisa Meraglim. Because of the story of the Meraglim, as it says in Tilim, Vayisa Yodei Lem Lahapil V'Gomer, well, as Roisam Barot says, Hashem spread us out in the lands. Rashi Shah. Ramban also writes, B'chumish Parshas HaMeraglim. V'omer Ba'arachin, it says in the Gemara, She'ikachet Meraglim Hayil Lashon Hara. Again, it was Lashon Hara. She'itziu Diba La'oris, that they spoke bad about Eretz Yisrael. By day Shabbat was B'chia Shachinam, and by the speaking the Lashon Hara, they caused Klal Yisrael to cry for no reason, because it wasn't true even. Based on that famous Chazal, that it was decreed on Klal Yisrael, a crying for generations, and so many bad things. Tisha B'Av, all these things happen on the day of the Meraglim. There's no end to the amount of tragedies, misfortunes that happen to us through this very severe Avera. At times, Shimon ben Shetach, Giso Sheyana HaMelech, who's the brother of Yanai HaMelech, killed out all the Chachamim based on Lashon Hara. It was based on Rechilas, Kedisa B'Kedushin. The Gemara Kedushin describes it. And the Tana, Rabbi Yosef was killed. Which was the cause for the destruction of the city Beita, which was considered a tremendously big city. Was also based on Rechilas. Sherechilu Alav Lifnei Ben Koziva, that whoever was said Rechilas about him to Ben Koziva, Kedisa B'Medrash. Okay, this is getting into, he's reviewing a little bit the severity of lashon hara and rechilas and why he's writing this psicha. Okay, so now we're going to go to the other part of the sefer, to Shmiras haLashon. Also to the day of why is in Tishri? What did we just do now? We just did now. Yes.
So it's interesting that it's not being referred to as like from the Avera standpoint. It's being looked at as just a natural consequence of it's just a dangerous habit that leads
Right,
to
right.
just
He's not
just
discussing the Gehenna you're gonna get. He's not
right.
discussing it. Right. It's so disruptive.
It's a dangerous activity.
Right. I'm wondering if we did this. I don't know why we didn't. We didn't do the Shmiras haLashon last time. So okay, we'll try to do part of this and part. Okay, let's see. So Zion Tishrei. I don't remember saying this. He had said that the Yitzhahara, one of the things the Yitzhahara does to convince us that we shouldn't be careful about lashon is that it's not doable. What are you going to do for an hour, for a day? It's not doable. So he says, how do you counteract this argument that Yitzhahara comes and tells you, don't even try. It's not possible. You won't be able to do more than a day or two. Yoshev. So you have to respond to that argument. Let's say you're right, Yitzhahara. That's the reason I shouldn't do it now. How do you do? He says, let's say, he says, if someone goes, whoever it might be, I feel Osher God or even a tremendously rich person, certainly if it's a poor person, let's say you're taking a walk on the beach, even if you're really rich. And you suddenly see that the water, the waves, washed up onto the beach, all kind of jewels. And he says, so will anyone say, oh, I'm not going to start picking up the diamonds and these things that got washed up because soon the tide's going to come and it's going to blow it away. So I only have a few hours. So for a few hours, it's not worth it. He says, nobody normal will do that, right? V'niv said that would only be true if the waves brought onto the beach something that has no value, some garbage and stuff. So even if, like, you had a long time, you could gather a lot, and maybe you could sell it. But for a few hours' work, it's true, it's not worth it. But if you're talking about jewels, looking about it's precious jewels. That's so valuable. For every moment, that you can gather and take them. It's worth more than 100 days gathering cheap stuff. So he says, that's how you have to look at here and lashon hara also. The Gra brings in the name of the Medrash, she said it's a famous statement of the Gra, they made it into a song. That for every moment that a person keeps his mouth closed, you merit that hidden light, the tremendous light, kirva of Hashem. No malach, there's no creation that could evaluate the greatness of that or. And you get it. You merit it for every moment that you keep your mouth closed. He says, take a look. The Medrash doesn't say that you get it for a month work or a week or a day or even an hour. It says rak rega for every moment. Just tremendous. It's like such a jewel. So the Torah is telling me you're not going to be able to hold out a day too. Yeah, a day too is valuable. And that's what the pasuk in Mishnah says in Tavachenik HaKosef. If you search for the Torah and the mitzvahs, like silver, and goes on to say valuable. stones. A person has to act when dealing with the eternal tachlis. The same way you act when you're searching for silver and hidden treasures, that's how you have to act when it comes to Torah and mitzvahs. So Hatana, and that's what the Tana, he had started off the other day with Ovis Rav Nosson, like ask don't distance yourself from something that doesn't have an end. And as the Torah says, listen, there's no end. You're not going to be able to do it. It's endless. Don't. It's not an argument. It's not an argument. I'll do it for a moment. I'll do it for a day. I'll do it for an hour. Because you have to view it that you're finding a treasure for every moment. So it doesn't matter. We're just going to do part of what I think is really today. I feel it's for He says, that's even true according to the Yetzirah's argument. Granted, it's a good argument. You're not going to be able to hold out. You do it a day or two and you're going to fall. Right? Granted. So Kabbalah won't help. You won't be able to keep him on a few days. He says, however, but when I really look into it, he says, if you really give it thought, then the whole argument of Yetzirah is a lie. And he's saying because it's been proven, if someone wants to put in the work, the more he accustoms himself to watch what he says, will be easier for him to. It's not true that you hold out for a day or two. If you start and you train yourself and you call yourself, okay, today I'll try a little more, you get accustomed to thinking before you speak and it becomes easier. So the whole Yetzirah's argument's really a lie. He says, because you'll realize when you say something wrong, he says that originally, when you spoke freely, you didn't take note. It didn't even notice that you were saying something wrong. But now you already become aware. It's brought to your awareness. And then with just a little bit, you hold yourself back. Because you've broken the hergel that used to speak freely, and whatever came out of your mouth, you didn't give a thought. With a little work, you break that hergel. And once you break that hergel, now when you speak, you catch yourself. So the whole argument of the Yetzirah is wrong. They say, but even according to the Yetzirah, it's wrong. Okay, we'll stop here, Maisha. You can stop the recording.